learning in Mr. Barger's class and how it's applicable to your local government and what you're experiencing here tonight?
He's lying.
We keep hoping someone. There has been one student in the 4 years that has taken us up on that invitation. So we hope that someday others will as well. So we ready? We good? We live? Well, welcome to the December 5th meeting. This is the penultimate meeting for 2023. As with all of our other meetings, we are streaming live and also archiving this for future reference. And as with our other meetings, before we get into the business of tonight, we will stand, bow our heads, recite the Lord's Prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and get into tonight's business. Thanks.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Karen, may we have a roll call, please? Your microphone, please.
Here.
Thank you.
There you go.
Tavenal was here.
Yes.
Carla Krebs.
Here.
Lucy DiTillo as an excused absence. Josh Schaefer.
Here.
Joel Storm. Do we know Joel? We'll hold off on him. Jim Bartlett.
Here.
Dan DiTillo.
Here.
Also present is Attorney Joe Jenner, Mayor Courtney, and Karen Skillman filling in for Katie Rampey for Clerk Treasurer.
Thank you, Karen. Council, we have a great agenda tonight. We'll start by the approval of the minutes. If I could have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, November 21st, please.
I move to approve the minutes from November 21st meeting.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. I'd like to invite one of our guests tonight, Executive Director of Visit Madison, Andrew Forrester, to give a tourism report. Andrew, welcome.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. It is good to be here. I give you a pack of information there, and hopefully shows just a snapshot of what all has been going on with Visit Madison in 2023. And then I also have some slides in it's in a stapled packet that you can kind of follow along with a few of my comments. I appreciate the invitation to come and give kind of a little bit of an update. I wanted to only hit the high points of tourism, so we're only going to be here 45 minutes. My portion, just kidding.
Only 45?
Yeah, we'll keep it to 5 to 10 minutes here. But want to share with you a lot of the great things that are happening in Madison. We have a lot of, as you know, amazing things happening. A lot of that is thanks to what you're doing on council, what the mayor and his team's doing, and a number of partners that we all work with on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm excited to share our portion of this. From marketing to graphic design, event coordination, running a visitor center, there's a lot that goes on every single day, and excited to talk about it and talk about the amazing team that we have at Visit Madison that helps make it happen. First, I wanted to touch on a few data points regarding tourism that's in your packet. Why is tourism important? Why is it important to have the people coming here and spending money? They're at its base, it's basic. It's people making money somewhere else and spending it here. So I like food analogies. If you can't tell, I enjoy food. So I look at that as our pie is only a certain size, and when we get people that are bringing in money from outside of our community that they've made elsewhere, it expands our pie locally here. And we've done a great job the last few years of bringing that in. According to Rockport Analytics, which is in, you've got some summary in our annual report in there. In 2021, which is the last year that we have data for, there was $51.5 million spent in visitor spending, which is a huge amount. That was up 25% from the year prior, and it reduced the tax burden of our residents by over $400 per household. So that's the impact of tourism. People coming here, not only spending their money in restaurants, but helps reduce the tax burden of our residents. And with visitors, they help fill our restaurants and our stores and spend money in those places and help improve the quality of life that we have and that we want as residents. So what am I seeing for tourism for this year? Well, we aren't quite finished yet. We've still got another month of visitation. As you can see in a couple of the slides that I've got there, occupancy, hotel occupancy. That's one of the ways that we measure how we're doing, because that shows not only visitors, but it also shows how we fund our marketing efforts. Our hotel occupancy this year has been above last year in every single month except for October. We saw a little bit of a slip there. Keep in mind, this is just a snapshot of hotel occupancy. We only have 4 hotels that report to that. We have the Cotton Mill, the Holiday Inn, Comfort Inn, and Super 8. And so the other hotels, including our second largest and probably third or fourth largest, don't report to that. So this provides a snapshot. It's informative, but it's not detailed. And we also have Airbnb gives us about 30% of innkeepers' tax collections here locally. And so we're working on potentially getting that data, but that's more of an investment we got to make to get that data. But data's been very important to us in order to make the decisions about where we need to market, what we need to try to invest in. The other data source that I know you all are familiar with because of our partnership with the city and the county on this is the Placer data. And we ran that through December 1st and compared it. So we ran year to date and we compared it to year to date last year. And so far this year, we've had 609,600 unique visitors to our community. Now, there's a couple caveats with that information. That includes people who could come right across the bridge. That's people that are from not in the city limits. So there's county people, there could be 20,000 in that, could be Scott County, Jefferson County, or Scott County, Clark County, Switzerland County, some of those. But I like to run the plus 50-mile radius. So you run a plus 50-mile radius, that's a tourist, and for the year, we have had 294,000 people in Madison that have driven from more than 50 miles away to get here. That's 30,000 more than last year, and that's just year to date. So we've got another month to see those numbers grow. Those are people that are coming here, spending money in our restaurants and our stores, staying overnight, exploring all that Madison has to offer. That's exceptional. That's up 36% since 2017. So we're seeing tourism really hitting its stride here in Madison. And I think what we're seeing in macro tourism trends, people want authentic, they want real, they want small town, they want Americana. And where else can you get that right here in Madison? So that's just a couple data sets to tell the story. Brought you that annual report for reference. And of course, we'll start working on a 23 report here then in just a few weeks that we'll make sure you get. But we're so appreciative of the city, the Board of Tourism, the county for partnering on these data tools to help us know what we need to be investing in and things that we need to be changing. A few of the things we've been able to test this year, and I think you'll see us lean into over the coming years. One of those things is the comfort station. And I have really appreciated the mayor's support. I've appreciated Parks Director Scott Klein and Tony Steinhardt in making that trial a success. As you know, we did a trial run there at the comfort station. We staffed it for 45 days. 36 of those were consecutive. We learned a lot about what a Main Street presence would look like for our tourism organization. We welcomed over 7,000 people through the door while we were staffing that, and about 10% of those had a question of some sort. They were wanting to know where to eat, where they could get this kind of a good. Maybe it's yarn, maybe it's, hey, I want an ornament to take home. So we were able to answer about 700 people's questions in that time. And those are, I mean, we serve 20,000 people down in the visitor center on First Street every year. But those are people that they probably wouldn't have come down to First Street unless they had a reason to. These are visitors. We know trends. Your visitor center, it's this anymore. You're not having people seek out a visitor center, and so you need to be where the people are and where the foot traffic is. So I think that's why it's been a great trial run to see what we can do for the future. Because I think it checks off a number of boxes for the city and for Visit Madison to reach visitors and residents alike, and we heard great feedback. The other thing we did was the trolley trial. We did a trial run of trolley tours for about 3 weeks in partnership with Dave Adams, the owner of the trolleys. We had paid tours for about 3 weeks, and it was a success. We had local residents. We had some of the local residents brought their out-of-town family and friends. We had out-of-town people that came in just for the trolleys, and they got a taste of what Madison has to offer, whether it's restaurants and stores or some of our history, just by taking a ride on the trolley. And then, of course, we did the free loop routes to some of our hotels. We went up to Hanover College. We went to Clifty Inn, Holiday Inn, and tested that. And that, now we're going to be armed with some data in order to make decisions for the future, in order to better connect visitors with all the things that they want to do here in the community. So a few other things that we're doing, you'll continue to see over the next year or so, leaning into conferences and conventions. We have 2 amazing facilities in the Cotton Mill and Clifty Inn that can host conferences, and so you're going to see us continue to lean into wanting to host those, bring people here, fill those hotels in what is the off season and even the off days of the week, that Monday, that really Sunday to Wednesday product. And you'll see us continue to lean into that because we believe Madison's open for business 365 days a year. And we want to fill those hotels and bring people here. That's going to help our restaurants, it's going to help our businesses, our entire economy. So you'll see us continue to invest in that. We already have 3 large conferences scheduled over the next 18 months, and I think there'll be a lot more coming. We're out selling Madison. And we'll continue to do that over the next year. Of course, our visitor's guide, you've got a copy of the visitor guide in there as well. We print 55,000 of those. About 10,000 of those get direct mailed to people who have said they want information on communities like ours. And then the rest we take out to rest stops and to restaurants, and some of our businesses mail those out with every order that they ship from online. And so it's a great marketing piece for us to tell the story. We've also been up to the Indiana State Fair, the Pilgrimage Music Festival, and the Paddle Fest in Cincinnati, sharing Madison's story and getting really great feedback from visitors about that. We're working on our strategic plan, which should be done by the year end. We're elevating and better coordinating with our events, whether they're events that Visit Madison owns or outside events. We're creating a motor trail that will attract car clubs, Jeep clubs, motorcycle enthusiasts to our region and our hills and curves. We're improving our gift shop at the Visitor Center, adding product, increasing a need for our visitors. They want to buy some things to take home to remember their time here, and we added an online shopping experience. And we're continuing having a robust presence on social media. Hopefully you were bombarded like I was with information about Nights Before Christmas in the couple weeks leading up to Nights Before Christmas on social media. And we had a great event, had over 3,500 people here for Nights Before Christmas over the last 2 weekends. And of course working with businesses and hotels to ensure that we have a great product 365 days a year. There's a lot more I can go into. I don't need to take up any more of your time. This is your meeting and not mine. I think I've gotten a chance to sit down and talk with each one of you, but if you want to sit down and talk, share ideas, things that we can be doing better, or you've got a question, happy to do that anytime. And I hope I can come back on a regular basis, keep updating you about things that we can keep doing to market Madison, make it a great place to live, work, and play. I just want to say again, thank you, Mayor Courtney, your team, your investments to make the community clean, safe, and beautiful that we can attract visitors to.
Tell him to say that.
He did not. He hasn't slipped me any money. But it really encompasses what people want to see when they come to a community. And the Council for Your Investment, in a number of infrastructure projects, things that will make Madison better, such as new restaurants, new sidewalks, a new bandstand potentially through some of the Destination Madison projects. And so any of those investments that you continue to make will continue to help not only our quality of life, but for our visitors as well. So thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions.
So Andrew, how much longer are we going to continue with the conversation? I know it was like a trial.
It was a trial, yeah.
So is that trial over now?
It's over. We actually extended it. We did it about 36 days. We did it seven days a week. So we went 36 straight days. And then I called Parks Director Klein and said, hey, can we expand it for 3 more weekends? The weekdays had really dropped off after we hit November. And so I said, can we do it on the weekends to get a little bit more data? We knew the parade was coming up, and he said, yeah, that's fine. So we did that, but now the hard work begins of what do we want that to look like for the future. So we're done with the trial for right now, but we're planning for what that looks like for 2024.
So that is something that could possibly come back as a permanent fixture if we deem it
Yeah.
important
yeah.
enough or worthy enough, whatever.
Yeah, and that's something that I want to keep working with the mayor, Parks Director Klein, and keep seeing what we can do on that for 2024, because I think it's a value, and the information that I got from it, we're still sorting through. I'll have a final report to give to JCBT, who helped fund that, but it was a success in my mind.
Okay, thank you.
Andrew,
Yeah.
first, thank you for the report. Visit Madison's staff is to be congratulated on the phenomenal amount of work that they've put in promoting Madison, Jefferson County, to help create really a couple of record years here of tourism. But one thing I want to mention, though, is it's a package deal. And I think we need to take a moment to thank the shop owners, the restaurateurs, and the hundreds of volunteers throughout the city of Madison that work all of the events that we have, because without all of these pieces of the puzzle, and there's more pieces I haven't even mentioned here, many more, without all of these pieces of the puzzle, our tourism efforts would be in vain. So once again, thank you and congratulations, and thank you to all of the volunteers and all the businesses that are involved in making this work as a package.
You're right. It's a team effort. I mean, without the volunteers, we don't have events, quite honestly. Without the city's help in making those events happen, they don't happen. Without the businesses providing a product that we can market, tourism doesn't happen. So you're right. It's a team effort. We've got an amazing team at Visit Madison that just work so hard every day to promote the community and partner with our historic sites and our businesses, and we look forward to what 24 can bring.
And
Yeah.
one more question, sorry. And Andrew, with the trolley tours, you know, the things you've been doing, is that also going to be in the same position as the comfort station? We'll evaluate it, we'll talk about it, and it could possibly come back as a permanent thing?
Yeah, that's the goal. Kind of take the information that we glean using the data to say, okay, how can we use this, improve it? And that one's a little bit more complicated because of all that goes into insurance and public transport and things like that. But I think it's part of a bigger conversation that we can have around public transportation, not just public tourism transportation, but public transportation overall.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just thank you for your remarks, council, and for the report today. If you think back about where we were in 2020, our tourism economies and our whole apparatus back was against the wall. And I think through a lot of hard work, look where we are now and look where we're heading into 2024. I'm very excited about it and very, very happy with it. And you've mentioned 3 things I'm just going to pull out of what you just shared with us. One was the partnerships. These public-private partnerships are so invaluable. Everything we're trying to accomplish, policy-wise, city-wise, investment. You mentioned the data, having information so you can make, the decisions about where those resources should be allocated to where they would be most effective. And then the third thing, investment. And it takes investment in our community. I know I probably sound like a broken record on that, but that is the game changer, is being open to investing in our community to make it beautiful for those living here and improve the quality of life. That then also attracts others who want to come here. And so I think that
That's right.
we're checking all three of those boxes. Still a lot of work to do.
There is.
And that's why we're all here, is to put those plans together. And we'll be talking about more planning tonight. We have an exciting announcement tonight, and that will play into everything you just mentioned. So feel
Perfect.
free to stay for the remainder of the meeting, because we'll have examples of more and more investment that's going to improve our quality of life and grow our tourism economy too.
I love to hear it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. With that as a segue, I'm going to invite Tony to introduce our special guests here tonight relative to the resolution that Joe is about to read. If you
You do whatever you want to do.
you want me to go with the resolution, then you do the introductions.
Resolution number 2023-8C, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, approving a revolving loan for River Oak Chop House LLC. Whereas the City of Madison maintains and operates a revolving loan fund. Whereas the City of Madison revolving loan fund is a tool available to the City of Madison to make loans for new and existing businesses located within the City of Madison. Whereas on November 30th, 2023, the Revolving Loan Fund Committee met and approved a loan in the amount of $150,000 for River Oak Chop House LLC and needs council approval per ordinance number 2020-6 for amounts over $75,000. Whereas River Oak Chop House LLC has agreed to invest in a new business operation in the City of Madison and is committed to employing 8 full-time employees and 15 part-time employees by June 1st, 2024. Whereas the City of Madison has committed to enhancing all aspects of economic development and feel that this new restaurant business in our downtown will have a positive impact on the City of Madison now and in the future. Whereas said loan will be secured by a personal guarantee promissory note and second position to the real estate mortgage to be executed by the owners of River Oak Chop House LLC. Whereas River Oak Chop House LLC further agrees to maintain property insurance and name the City of Madison as an additional insured. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana hereby directs and authorizes the Mayor of the City of Madison, Indiana to develop and execute all documents necessary to reflect the intent of the parties agreement outlined above. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, that 1. The Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana hereby approves the terms outlined above and authorizes the Mayor of the City of Madison, Indiana to develop and execute any and all documents to satisfy the agreement of the parties. This resolution shall become immediately effective upon its adoption by the Common Council, signature of the Mayor, enrollment in the Book of Ordinance Resolutions, publication of notice as required by law, and posting. Yeah, that's not accurate. Not sure why that was in there. But basically, enrollment in the Book of Ordinances and publication is required by law. The foregoing resolution was passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, held on its 5th day of December 2023. So I would just note that there was a number 2 there is a Scrivener's error, and it should have a period after the word law.
Do you need a,
No, that's just a Scrivener's error. It's fine.
Thank you, Joe and Mayor Courtney. City Councilors, tonight I'm excited to bring back in front of you for approval Elizabeth and Troy Riley, the owners of the new formed River Oak Chop House LLC. The Revolving Loan Committee met, did our due diligence, reviewed their business and operational plans, and the committee feels very strongly that they're developed in a way that will make the restaurant very successful in this community. As you know, the owners currently work 2 successful restaurants, Streamcliff Farms and the Crimson Oak Restaurant in North Vernon. Their plans to make the Madison restaurant a destination. They're also planning on it being a 6-night-a-week restaurant, as well as providing private room for guests and parties in their new downtown establishment, which is really critical as we hear more and more opportunities for conventions and those sorts of things. Private rooms are really important for those kinds of things. As you know, the terms of the note will be a 10-year note, and will be at a 6.5% interest rate per the revolving loan committee. This time I can introduce Elizabeth to talk a little bit more about her concept and vision.
Hello, so nice to be back with you. Thank you for having us. I'm Elizabeth Riley and my husband is Troy Riley. And as Tony was saying, we also own Streamcliff Farm Restaurant, which the restaurant opened in 1995, and then Crimson Oak Restaurant and Pub in North Vernon we opened in 2020. The concept for River Oak Chop House is going to be similar to Crimson Oak, but we're going to be leaning more towards prime cuts of steak and seafood. And so far we've been working on doing some paintings, some kind of mild renovations. The plan is to have it become a destination type of a restaurant. Streamcliff is definitely a destination restaurant. You know, being in Comiskey, we don't have very many locals that come. And then with our concept with Crimson Oak, going into a smaller town such as North Vernon, we knew we would need to rely on customers to come from other areas, which has happened. And so our hope and plan for River Oak Chop House is that not only would we be able to serve the residents here in Madison and also the visitors, but I would hope that we would also become an additional attraction that would bring people into town to come to our restaurant. We're wanting it to be that type, that upper scale type of a restaurant. I wanted to also point out that when the restaurant opens, we are hoping to have between 20 to 25 employees total. We will be bringing our executive chef from North Vernon. He'll be down here, and we'll be hiring a sous chef, which both of those will be well-paid positions. We will have several line cooks. Probably, I would imagine we would have somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 line cooks with an average pay of about $15 an hour. In the back of the house, I would say, all total, like I said, about 8 or 10. And then in the front, we would have, hostesses and servers and bartenders. And so, all total, I'm hoping we'd have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 25 employees. We currently have 30 at Crimson. We've been busy doing some renovations. We do have the need on the financial side. We will have to install a walk-in cooler. Our initial quote for that was in the low $20,000. We are doing some renovations with some electrical work and some building the bar out. On Thursday, this past Thursday, I had invited the fire marshal from the Department of Homeland Security to come do sort of a non-official visit, and he brought the local fire marshal and building inspector. And one thing that they found was, and we did not know this until Thursday, was that the hood system, the exhaust is a flex duct, and that's going to have to be replaced. So that is an additional expense that tomorrow we have our first contractor coming to give us a bid on that, but we know that's going to be substantial and something that we hadn't planned for. Other things that we're looking forward to doing, that property has a beautiful courtyard area that we're wanting to expand with decking and pavers, and then eventually turn the carriage house into an outdoor kitchen. So my vision for that would be, especially festivals and on the weekends and in the summer months, that we would have a whole separate dining area that would have a different menu than what the main restaurant would have. So, I'm thinking that we could hopefully seat another 50, 60 people out in the courtyard, in addition to I'm expecting to seat around 80 in the restaurant. And as Tony was saying, we're hoping to be open 6 nights a week and do brunch on Saturday and Sunday. So yes, something. I'm happy to answer any questions.
When do you expect to be open?
We are hoping to open the end of January. The 3 big hurdles, I was here for the liquor license, and that is currently in Indianapolis. I sent it in as soon as possible after our meeting 2 weeks ago. Having the walk-in cooler installed will be a big project, and then The issue with the hood system, I have been given approval to go ahead and open as long as we have the contractor's plan in place and that there is a time frame for when that will be fixed. I mean, obviously, there's been several other restaurants using that current system, but they felt like, especially since we're going to be having the steaks and, that we needed to update that. So those are our three big hurdles. Assuming that those go in quickly, I would hope to be open the end of January.
Don't laugh, but will you have the blackberry cobbler transferred down here? Because that is why I go.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. I've been asked so many different questions about what we're going to have, and Chef Nash has been working. We've been talking, thinking about the menu. We don't have anything concrete yet, other than we know, the steaks and the seafood. But everything's going to be scratch. I laugh that in Crimson we make the ranch dressing. Everything's made from scratch. So it's going to be that same type of.
Okay, but just please, the blackberry cobbler
Okay.
has to come with you. All right, thank you.
Yes. Can I answer any other questions? Okay. Whatever it takes.
Want to reiterate? Go ahead. I just want to reiterate again, thank you for your investment in Madison and, adding to our destination development plans. And I think that with all the partnerships that Andrew was describing earlier today and who you've met probably along the way, you're going to be well supported by the community.
Yes.
and all of the visitors that will be coming here. So we're
Yes,
very excited.
Very excited to be able to work with Visit Madison. Yes.
Any other questions for Elizabeth? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2023-8C.
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-8C as written.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Comments or questions? Hearing none?
Patrick Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Tyler Craig,
Yes?
Lester Schaefer,
Yes.
Jim Bartlett,
Yes.
Dan Mazzone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Troy, thank you for being
Thank
here
you.
tonight too, sir. Yeah. Thank you. Moving on now, Council, are there any reports, recommendations, or other business from standing or select committees of City Council? All right, at this time, we'll move on to reports of city officials and invite Deputy Mayor Minnie McGee to talk about infrastructure. What? Where you been?
It's very busy.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So, good evening, council. I wanted to update you on a couple of things, a few things, mainly CCMG projects. But before I do that, I'm going to ask Nicole Shell to join me up here and give you an update on the Clifty Drive.
You mean to make a big announcement about Clifty Drive?
That's what I mean.
Yes.
So just as a recap, Clifty Drive sidewalk project was part of our Stellar Communities designation in 2017, has finally bid and had an awardable bid by NDOT. So that's the big announcement. But as a reminder, sidewalks on Clifty will stretch from Wilson to Michigan Road, all on the south side, and then from where they end in front of McDonald's to Frisch's on the north side. So we've been through a couple of modifications with this project. We ran into some utility issues when planning for sidewalks, so now it's a sidewalk and stormwater project instead of just a sidewalk project. So we're going to improve the drainage along Clifty Drive there with all new storm drains and really clean up that area, so hopefully the roadway doesn't flood anymore. If you'll go to the next slide. So with that and the delay on bidding the project, we've had some changes to the scope of work, which has increased the cost of construction. So in 2019, when we estimated the project, it was just a sidewalk project, and we were at $3.3 million for construction and engineering and right-of-way. The bid that was awardable in November moved our construction up to 4.8. We had a little bit of increase in right-of-way cost for acquisition, moving our total to $5.1 million. Again, new reiteration of the project, it's not just sidewalks anymore, it's sidewalks and stormwater, which has increased to that cost. But we're happy to announce that NDOT has agreed to help us fund that gap in making our construction project still 80% NDOT and 20% the city. So their investment increase was about 1.9 million. So they're going to invest just roughly around 3.9 to our 1.2 million. So we're happy to partner with them, and the Redevelopment Commission has agreed to help us fund the gap that we didn't have before. And I'm happy to answer whatever questions. We're anticipating the project starting in the spring. Dave O'Mara was awarded our project, plus the bundled 3 NDOT projects, which was about a $13 million project total. So those other 3 NDOT projects includes work at Craigmont Street for signal modifications and updates, some work at Michigan Road, extending some of the medians, and then a full repaving from Michigan to Wilson.
Yeah, I just want to say that, counting the process, and I think you were involved in and Andrea was as well, the Stellar Strategic Investment Plan. 2024 will be year 7 in which we've been working on the Clifty Drive sidewalk project that is evolved into something much larger than was probably originally contemplated. It's probably going to be the single largest sidewalk project the city's ever done, but we're doing it at a time where we're partnering with NDOT for other improvements in that heavily traveled corridor, and it also marries up with not additional investment that the school continues to make on their campus, but Sunrise Crossing, and it will come around and help the intersection as well as the sidewalk project will benefit the shops at Sunrise Crossing, and early in the first quarter or by late next first quarter we'll be closing on the first phase of the residents at Sunrise Crossing. So it's a more pedestrian friendly corridor, and it will be evolving into more pedestrian friendly or connected to the neighborhoods, and certainly evolve into more destination development along Clifty Drive. So it's a long-term project, and it's post-COVID, everything got dramatically more expensive because of supply chain issues and just the amount of work that contractors have, and this will obviously use a lot of concrete, which is one of the biggest, most expensive materials that we're using. But we're happy to announce that the sidewalk project will proceed, and the bid and construction will probably begin in spring.
Okay, so go over the parameters again, because you talked so fast.
Sorry.
On the south side, Wilson Avenue to Michigan Road.
Yes. So you'll see the map there, that yellow line. So it is from the corner at Wilson and Clifty all the way to where the sidewalks are on Michigan. It will connect around that corner.
And then on the north side?
On the north side is at McDonald's, where the sidewalks currently end. We're connecting there and then going all the way to Frisch's. That's as far on the north we could go without getting into some right-of-way issues.
Okay, thank you.
And you'll be able to cross still there at McDonald's and then also at Craigmont.
And for all our students here tonight, from Mr. Barger's class, this will reduce the time from the high school to Taco Bell, probably by about 10 minutes. So it's going to be awesome for you guys. Any questions on Clifty Drive sidewalk? And we're going to move into something also exciting, which is road projects in our neighborhoods. Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome.
CCMG.
CCMG.
It should be CCOMG. Come on, people. All right.
So you may remember, council, that we applied for both rounds of funding for this year's CCMG. So I'm just going to recap a little bit and give you a status of where we are on the first 2023-1, which is technically called the spring letting. That, you can see the streets listed there. That's Blackmore, Michigan Road, Craigmont, and then downtown 2nd Street, Poplar Street, West Street, and Mulberry. Almost all of these are in conjunction with another project where we're making improvements. We're using that option of CCMG funds, which we split 50-50 with the state, to make those improvements with a little bit of savings to us. So, except for Blackmore, which is just needed to be done for a long time. So, this contract, we knew we were going to have to split into 2 construction years because there's a lot of concrete work, and then the paving work that needs to happen downtown. We have to get the concrete done first. We have a restriction because of the building on the corner down here. We didn't want heavy equipment. We didn't want jackhammering sidewalks going on until they stabilize that building. So that affected our schedule a little bit. Also, with the grocery store coming in, we are committed to getting some improvements done in the front side of that. And so we are on a deadline for that. So we broke it up into 2 construction seasons. I will tell you that Blackmore has become a little bit more complicated than we thought. There's drainage issues in that neighborhood we're hoping to improve with this. And then, of course, once you start removing curb or sidewalk or some gutter pans, you find that catch basin is collapsed or whatever. We've had that a couple of times. We have replaced 2 catch basins up there already. So I took some photos just to show you. I'll come back to this. I wanted to show you kind of why we got in there and why this part of the project is not going as fast as I would like. So the photo on the left is where you'll see this is typical of what we're doing on Blackmore. Not every single driveway is getting replaced, the approach. Not all of the sidewalk is getting replaced, but a good portion of it is. This is an older neighborhood with older infrastructure and a lot of mature trees, so we have replaced a lot of sidewalk. What we ended up deciding in the end was the gutter and gutter pan, the curb and gutter pan, just basically needed to be replaced. I don't know if there's a spring up there. I hear all kinds of things, but there's a lot of water that runs and stands in the street up there along the edges. So it has eroded what was there before. It had been paved over a lot, so we just simply made the decision to replace all of that. That has added to the timeline of this project. And then in the center, you'll see that patching along the gutter. And on the right, that's the intersection at Ross and Blackmore. That's the main intersection that we really got into. We replaced 2 catch basins in that corner, 1 on each side. So all of that had to be done, patched, and replaced, and that has delayed them from continuing on with the paving that they should have had done, frankly, by now. That definitely has contributed to the length of that part of the project. But having said that, we structured the contract the way we did because we only wanted to pay 1 mobilization charge, meaning when they bring all their equipment onto the hilltop, we wanted them to complete all the hilltop work before they move downtown. So that's not going to happen now, and unfortunately I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get this paved Blackmore before most of the plants are closed at this point. We are meeting with O'Mara in the morning to talk through this because neither the mayor or I are very happy that we're at this point in the project. So more to come on that, but I wanted to be honest with you on where we are on this project. So I'll back up and talk a little bit about some of the other streets. So you've seen Blackmore. Craigmont Street will do from Clifty Drive down to Mauser. The important thing on the Craigmont piece is it will tie in with the Clifty sidewalks job as well. So we will take care of sidewalks up to meet the new sidewalk on Clifty Drive. So they're by the bank. People will be able to walk all the way up and hop on that sidewalk. So I think that's a great improvement. Michigan Road, originally we were going to put a rejuvenator project or a product on that, and the contractors came in with an alternative bid for us, and it was actually cheaper to mill and pave. So we will mill and pave Michigan Road from Autumnwood all the way to the new road, Miles Ridge area, basically where we did the new road for the shopping center. Here's the numbers on that. When we submitted an application for this, we did it based on engineers' estimates. They do the best they can. There's obviously unknowns when we get into construction, and then the time that passes makes everything come in a little higher than we anticipate. But So based on our estimates, NDOT awarded us $649,000, basically $650,000. But then when the bids came in, it was $1.696 million. So we will make up the difference of that, and our total commitment will be $1,046,000 on this job.
Mindy,
Yes.
back on Craigmont.
Yes.
You said you're gonna extend the sidewalks up to the Clifty intersection. Is
Yes.
that on both sides or just on?
Just on one side. It'll be on the bank side.
Okay.
On, what is that, the west side?
Yep.
Yeah. These maps are of West Street, which will go from Milton Street or the base of the hill all the way to Main Street. And then, and you'll notice on West Street, we've done some temporary patching where those failed cuts have deteriorated, and it's just it's horrible driving on West Street. So we've done some temporary things for the winter to make it a little bit better, but it will be paved in the spring. Don't forget we have a bridge project going on in West Street as well. I don't know the timing of when the county's going to start that. I know they've started their preliminary engineering, so a lot to coordinate on these paving projects. So I'm not giving you a start and finish on individual streets because it's all subject to change. Poplar Street on the right is from First Street down to Vaughn. You'll see a lot of work going on in the parking lot down there at the bottom there. So a lot of coordination going on with other projects. That is it, I believe, for 2023-1. Any questions on that?
So the county bridge project did not get kicked off. It won't this year.
No. I think they're doing some preliminary engineering, but in terms of construction, no. Okay, the second round of funding, 2023-2, we decided to basically follow behind the water improvement project that's going on. The contract for water said that they had to backfill where they were working, and they have technically done that. It's just that they're not really very good roads at this point. So I'll show you some pictures. We thought it was important for the people that live in these neighborhoods to give them back a really nice road. Most of the roads were due for paving anyway, so we just took advantage of the opportunity to get that all upgraded. So that's the list of streets. It's East Street, Hillcrest, Maplewood, Hatcher Hill, Sunrise, Fairway, Ridgewood, Falls Boulevard, Franks Drive, Maplewood, and the one that's not included in this is Flint Street. I never can remember it. Flint Street. They're working there right now, so we'll include that in the next one to get theirs upgraded. I just want to show you some maps here. That's Franks Drive, obviously, that we will do that entire semicircle, horseshoe shape. Sunrise, basically the entire neighborhood in Sunrise. We're not going to do Clubhouse because they weren't in that part of this neighborhood, and the road's pretty good in there, but we will do the rest of the neighborhood in Sunrise and all the cul-de-sacs. Here's some photos just so you have an idea of why we felt like this was important to do it this way. These are in Sunrise. So if you look at that, yes, technically they went back and backfilled and they sealed it. And eventually that will fade, I suppose, and look like the rest of the road. But those roads were so due for paving, they're cracked, they're falling off on the edges. That middle photo is an intersection of Falls Boulevard and the first cul-de-sac there. I can't remember the name of it right now. It's not High Cliff, it's Hillview? Hillview. Drug that out of the closet. And so that is just not it's just not a good intersection. It's got a lot of damage. So we just feel like it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, Mindy, a lot of the, deterioration of the road came about not only because it, age, but, all the heavy equipment that was on it for 9 months or so, bouncing back and forth doing excavation, installing a very important new water main, fire hydrants, service lines to each of the houses in these 5 neighborhoods, but we couldn't leave these roads this way, so we're following up and resurfacing all of them.
Hillcrest, same thing. When you come into Hillcrest, you can go right and go down Wildwood, or you can go left and go down Hillcrest and wind all the way back to the back, and then Maplewood that crossed it we will be doing all of that resurfacing. Here are two examples of intersections. Both of those are on Maplewood. One's at Wildwood, one's at Hillcrest. And you can see the one on the left. It's just, the road is damaged. There's a drainage issue there. So we just feel like it's smart to make the investment and fix it. Here's East Street, and if you're, I can tell you that this photo looks much better than it actually is, and it looks much better than it drives. It is really bad, and it goes all the way, we're going to pave all the way from Telegraph Hill to the end of the road, because it's all the way to Telegraph. It's Telegraph to the, yep, it really is. Yes.
Mike's house will go all the way up to that.
You're welcome. And that is my update on CCMG.
Mindy, you went through, Mindy and Nicole, about $7.5 million of new infrastructure investment with about a $2.5 million investment from the city. The other funding is maximizing our CCMG dollars that are allocated to us by NDOT, but also utilizing funds from Federal Highway Administration through NDOT, and then also we're partnering with Madison Utilities for sharing part of the match.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that. Yes.
Any questions for Mindy?
Just one. Hillcrest.
Yes.
So over the years, they have continued to pave over that. This is my district. That's the only reason I know this.
That's fine.
To the point where there are no gutters there. Like literally, it is a level street, which causes major issues for the people who live there with flooded front yards. Is it possible when we go back to do the repaving to somehow create gutters with the way I have no idea.
So that's a good question. Am I wrong? There weren't any gutters in there.
There's gutters now, but they've been paved.
They've been paved over.
Right.
You're talking about Hillcrest, yes.
Normally what we do, describe about the gutter pan and curbing.
Yeah. At some point throughout history, they made the decision to pave over the gutters right up to the curbs, and eventually that goes away, which is what you're referring to. When we mill, I will talk to Kenny because I'm not the technical construction person, but when we mill that, we don't have the funding in for concrete. We did not put a lot of concrete money in because there's not a lot of sidewalks in those neighborhoods that we're doing. But there is some. So let me talk to Kenny and see what we can do, see what the plan is for that. I'm certain that he's planning on a fix for that, but I don't know what that looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, I will get back with you on that, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've been trying to resolve that in other areas where we mill it all the way down and then replace the gutter pan and curb. Like
Yeah,
what we're
I just
doing on
don't know if they can
Blackboard.
mill in the gutter pan or if that has to be replaced, but I will find out for you.
Thank you.
All right, next up on the agenda, council, is an ARPA update. If you recall, and maybe a couple of you may not recall because you weren't on council then, but in 2020, in response to the public health emergency and the impact it was having all across America and in our community too, the American Rescue Plan was enacted, which allocated funding to essentially every town, city, and county in the United States based on population. City of Madison was awarded $2,688,024.28 in 2020, and I believe in July of 2020, I'm sorry, this was 21. In July of 2021, we adopted an ordinance that essentially appropriated the first tranche of those dollars. It came in two tranches. Then in 2021-22, when we received the second tranche, which is half of the $2,688,000, we amended that appropriation of how those dollars would be spent, and we had agreed that we would spend $568,620.50 on stormwater infrastructure and planning, matching grant funds of $100,000, Speeding the recovery of tourism, $100,000. Premium pay for essential workers, $292,673.75. Public sector revenue loss due to COVID, $276,730.03. And City of Madison park improvements of $1,350,000. So in your packet tonight, what you have is essentially an accounting, update you on where we have spent those dollars, and in just a minute we're going to have a presentation on four of really the top things that come out of ARPA. But we have $488,806 remaining from the $2,688,000 that was appropriated. The federal rule for the dollars is that the monies have to be obligated by 2024 and completely spent in 2026. City of Madison also received other ARPA federal related dollars through ready grants. We also received a portion of Jefferson County's ARPA contribution for our water project and for our stormwater infrastructure and planning. So the dollars that we're talking about here are just those that were received directly by the City of Madison. So we have $488,806 left to spend. It has all been obligated, so we've satisfied that requirement for 2024. And just like we were talking a little bit earlier about the Stellar funding, how many years it really takes from conception to completion. Stellar, we're going into 7 years, and with the ARPA monies, we're heading into year 3, and probably have a couple years left to fully build out our ready projects and all of our direct projects appropriated from our ARPA dollars. So I mentioned or highlight a few. First is the Army Corps of Engineers flood study. We had allocated $568,000 towards stormwater infrastructure and planning, and a large portion of that was committed in partnership with a planning assistance grant that we received from the Army Corps of Engineers to study the Crooked Creek watershed. After about 18 months of working with the Army Corps of Engineers, they did provide us with a very detailed analytical report about the Crooked Creek watershed. Here's just an example of areas they've highlighted that are higher risk to flooding. That is exactly what we experienced during the flash flood in June of 2021. That's West 5th and 4th Streets, east of US 421, there where Dugan Hollow comes down at Lorenz Park and Walnut Streets and East Streets, and then the low spot near US 421 between Milton and East 4th Street. Those were areas of high inundation with floodwaters, repeated flooding, and the action we've taken is to collect the data and recommendations from the Army Corps of Engineers. We also formed a steering committee to start evaluating the Army Corps of Engineers reports, and we are working on an RFP now, or really a scope assignment for our consultant to help guide us through that process of evaluating the data and putting together an action plan, which will then require essentially millions of dollars of new federal funding to be identified in order to reduce the risk of future flooding in that corridor. There are other things in that category, such as cleaning out the tributaries, which is extremely important, and then also we took care of continued drainage issues on Crozier Avenue with those funds. But combined with the $250,000 from the Jefferson County contribution and the approximate $250,000 left from ours, we have about $500,000 that will be used as match money and seed money, or how we deem appropriate in order to achieve our goal of reducing flooding risk in that area. The next category I want to mention here was the Crystal Beach pool. Now we'll go all the way down to the $1,350,000 that was committed for parks improvements. There were 3 specific parks that are identified in this plan, and we'll give you an update on each of them. But first, we'll give you a little video from R.L. Turner, our contractor, relative to the progress at Crystal Beach.
There's no sound to this because they had sound on it, and it was really bad.
We didn't like the sound, so we just thought we'd go with the video and maybe narrate a little bit. But as you can see, this is a drone shot coming in through the clouds above Crystal Beach. Demolition had already occurred. Now here's where you're seeing a lot of concrete after all the underground infrastructure has been installed. And the basement of the pool house, as you know, has already been sealed up. All the pumps and filtration systems are installed, and the Hunter Hall is active now. They really do work that fast because the progress that we've made on Crystal Beach has been, I think, incredible, and we're gearing toward our completion and opening date, Memorial Day weekend in 2024, after 2 seasons without Crystal Beach. We're very grateful for the partnership with the Bethany Legacy Foundation and Jefferson County for financially supporting in a very material way the reconstruction of Crystal Beach Aquatic Center. Next up is Gaines Park. This was a beautiful restoration of a small pocket park in historically black neighborhood of Madison. A lot of history here as being the site for the Broadway High School. That groundbreaking, all of you that were there, was nothing short of just phenomenal. 2 grandsons of Reverend Gaines was there to celebrate with us. And then the third one is the Georgetown Memorial at Costigan Park. And you'll see this already taking shape because the work has begun on the Vaughn Drive side of this, which is on the right-hand side. And then on the bottom part, that's actually Poplar Street that's going north. And you'll see the Georgetown Memorial incorporated into this particular development, which we've already essentially broken ground on. And Tony will remind me what he thinks the completion date will be by June? By regatta. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful addition to our riverfront, as well as historic campus for the Shrewsbury House and Schofield and close to the Lanier Mansion. And you can see all of the progress that's happened in that corridor in a really short period of time. I'll mention too, probably just the last thing, the monies that are yet to be expended, much of that is, it's already been appropriated where it's going to go, but we'll be working with Andrew and Lucy on the remaining funds for the tourism element of it, and then we'll be finalizing all of the park investments, and then again working with our steering committee on flood mitigation. That's going to be the other major part for the stormwater.
Will happen. Okay. And in places where there was concrete curbs put in over the years, we will be replacing those back with historic stone.
Sidewalks up Poplar, crossover connectivity to Shrewsbury House is going to be beautiful.
I assume Crystal Beach is all on schedule still?
Crystal Beach Park is on schedule. They expect to be done pouring concrete, here in the next 3 weeks. All pumps, all controls, all the electrical work is done and complete. So concrete work's on schedule. You'll notice that they're in the shallow or the 0 grade area right now. You'll see a lot of pipes coming up out of the concrete. Those are all parts of the water features, play structures, those sorts of things as a part of that. But they should be easily ready to go in May. The substantial completion date's May 1st, which will give us plenty of time to shake the pool down, train, and prepare the items that we have to prepare to get the pool open by Memorial Day.
Thank you.
2024 is already shaping up to be a phenomenal year with many of our projects that we've been talking about for a couple of years coming online. If there are no other questions with regard to ARPA update, we'll move on to bills on second reading.
This bill on second reading is ordinance number 2023-20, an ordinance of the Common Council amending certain portions of the traffic code.
Sponsored by Councilman Schaefer. And might invite Tony back up here again to give a little overview of the need for this ordinance.
And I'll ask Chief Wallace to join me as well. We presented and talked to the traffic committee a couple times about these recommendations. We have a new road, Sunrise Crossing Boulevard, that needs a speed limit, of course, so that was recommended at 20 miles an hour. And then as a part of our connectivity plan and our multimodal access plan, making Michigan Road, initially we talked from Hatcher Hill North, but as we worked through the CCMG project and realized the neighborhoods affected and the amount of golf cart use that Michigan Road gets, we felt that we needed to comply with the Federal Highway Administration's manual on uniform traffic control devices to make that a shared road, and that requires that speed limit to be set at 35 miles an hour. So we're making those two recommendations as a part of this ordinance.
And just again to reiterate, it does not affect the slower traffic requirement in school zone.
Correct. The school zone would stay the same and at the same location as it currently at 20 miles.
Thank you, Tony. Evening, Council. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I believe that with the amount of golf cart traffic that we do have on there, that the reduced speed would be appropriate. Our school zone is working very well. We have been enforcing that, and people are, for the most part, adhering to it. So I think with some enforcement and some information put out to the public, hopefully it'll slow it down, and that's will be a nice area for golf carts, pedestrian, bicycle, and any multimodal unit to transgress on it and be safe.
This recommendation would allow us to stripe and to sign that area and roadway as a shared road specific to the federal highway standards. So there'll be lots of new signage, lots of new markings on the roadway from Autumnwood to Michigan Road.
So from Autumnwood.
Autumnwood Drive to Michigan Road. Yes, we've made that from Autumnwood Drive to Michigan Road. Initially, we had only talked about it to Hutchinson, but realized with all the golf cart tracking communications with the officers, it was felt that it would be a safer path for all residents along Michigan Road.
Yeah, I think this goes well with the lighted intersection, the moving of the staging area off of Michigan Road for Anderson. That's been a tremendous help, and a slight reduction in speed limit I think will also be very helpful because there is a lot of different multimodal traffic up there. Any questions for Chief or Tony?
Just a quick comment, Chief. One of the residents up there did mention to me the other day that they had noticed an increase in officer enforcement along Michigan Road, and they were thankful for that.
Thank you, Councilman Bartlett. I appreciate that. Yeah, we have a lot of the officers will sit in certain areas, monitor traffic, run radar, and just the presence alone certainly makes a big difference. But thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, to reiterate that, I've only been doing pre-K drop-off at Anderson for a few months now, but I've been pleasantly surprised by the slow traffic as you turn off of Miles Ridge Road onto Michigan. People are widely following the speed that they should be, to the school zone speed limit. It's been a great surprise.
Yeah. We've been hitting that pretty hard as well with our Operation Pullover, Safe Driving Communities. We've been monitoring that, and there's been some warnings and citations issued, but it certainly has got their attention. So I appreciate the public adhering to that as well. That's just a congested area, but everybody seems to slow down and take it in stride, and we get through safely. And nothing more important than the safety of our kids. So,
yep.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from anybody here in the audience?
barring other concerns or comments, I would move that we waive the rules and move this on to third reading.
I would second that.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that, waiving the rules? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so now we're on to third reading of ordinance number 2023-20, an ordinance amending certain portions of the traffic code. We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Do we need a motion and a second for this part?
No.
Okay. Patrick Avenal,
Yes.
Carla Krebs,
Yes.
Joshua Schaefer,
Yes.
Joel Storm, is still absent. Jim Bartlett,
Yes.
Dan DiTillo.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, council. And Joe, thank you very much. Moving on, we have one item under miscellaneous, and that is board appointments. Carla, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so one of our council board appointments has come to an end for a lodging person on the Board of Tourism. And Ron Bateman will be finishing his term this month. And so I would like to nominate Renee Stevens, who is Clifty Hotel manager, to replace Ron Bateman on our Board of Tourism. Renee is a longtime friend of mine and a longtime hotel worker. She was at the Holiday Inn before she was at Clifty, and so she has decades of experience and has served previously on the Board of Tourism, then took a break and has agreed to come back. So I would like to make a motion for Renee Stevens to be our city council appointment to the Board of Tourism.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Carla, who's she replacing?
Ron Bateman.
Discussion, comments, or questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I should have asked, you want to do, you have several, do you want to do them in a batch, or you don't want to do them
Just do them all together.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, let's do them all together. Go ahead, Patrick.
I have a nomination I'd like us to consider for the council appointment to the PACE Review Board. And this position is currently vacant. I'm nominating Laura Lawson. She lives downtown on East First Street, loan officer with German American Bank, several years experience there, veteran of the United States Army. And I sent her a letter of interest out to council as well. So I would nominate her for the PACE Review Committee.
I'll second that.
We're gonna do a batch motion after is there
Okay.
any others? Are there any other nominations?
Did you have?
I feel like I had one more.
I thought you had another one.
Oh, gosh.
You sent it in an email.
Yes. Do you guys remember? I thought I sent you 3.
I'm looking now.
HD? No, not HD.
No.
Oh, okay, we'll just go with those 2.
Okay, and, we'll do more at the next meeting too. So, we have a motion to approve, Laura Lawson.
I'll make a motion to approve Laura Lawson to be added to the PACE.
And any discussion? You seconded that, right, Jim?
Yes.
Yes. Any discussion, comments, or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We do have several other board positions whose terms are expiring at the end of the year, so we'll have more of these to discuss at the next meeting. Anything else on that matter?
Nope, that's it.
All right, moving on, we'll open it up to public comment. If anybody's here who would like to address the mayor's office or city council, please come to the podium. Identify your name and address and what your comments are, please. Hearing none, I'll just have a couple of announcements. I really appreciate Andrew being here today and the presentation by Tony and Nicole and Mindy talking about placemaking. A lot of that investment is happening all across our community. At the next council meeting, we'll probably give you an even more detailed project update. There's about a dozen other projects that are in different phases of their design or completion. So, I think Tony might have already stepped out, but we intend to give you another update for kind of a wrap-up at the next meeting. Well, you probably heard about the announcement that was made at the Board of Public Works and Safety yesterday by our chief, America's Chief, John I. Wallace, who has announced his retirement at the end of this year. Chief, it's been a pleasure working with you and having you be our Sergeant of Arms at every one of our council meetings and Board of Public Works meetings, and always being on call and available to each and every one of us over the course of the last 4 years. So I want to thank you for your service, and also wish you the best in your retirement. You've left some big shoes to fill.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it very much. I hang out at the chop house.
Come on up here and talk on camera so your fan base can see you.
Yeah, right. Well, since Joey's gone, I can speak now because he had threatened me. He said, if we have any of these accolades, I'm walking out, but he walked out before I got him. So thank you, Mayor. I do appreciate the opportunity you allowed me to come back as chief to finish my career in law enforcement. 37 years, 2 months, and 12 days, I think. So
Nobody's counting.
Yes, nobody's counting. But and my wife is retired at the same time, but 40 years, so that should last about a week or two. And then I may be looking for a job at the chop house there. Yeah, so I can.
Might not last that long when she watches this video.
Yeah, that's true. Let's just keep it in this room, okay? But no, we're looking forward to it. Next phase of life. Blessed with 4 grandchildren, and I'm excited to see what that brings. You know, when my boys and daughter was growing up, law enforcement drags you out at all certain hours, and you miss a lot of things. So I'm looking forward to. I'll never be able to make that up, but I'm looking forward to spending a lot of time with these grandkids. They're pretty special. So I recommend it. If you don't have one, I recommend them. So. Yeah,
Chief, you remember that movie probably from about 30 years ago called City Slickers? And there was an old crusty cowboy in that movie, and his name was, I think, Curly.
Yes.
And he was really educating the City Slickers, and he says it's about that one thing. What was that? What's that one thing for you?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's just the people is the one thing. It's just it really it's kind of sounds odd, but being there on somebody's worst day to help them through it, and that's special. I think God puts us in places and has us do things for certain reasons, and I feel confident He's put me in the right place for the last 37 years. So although it was tough being there, I was there for a reason. So that was the one thing, just being there for people in their time of need on their worst day. But hopefully we made a difference.
You have made a difference, and I'd like to applaud you. So if everybody would join me,
thank you. Thank you.
I am going to end it there unless council has anything else to add. Our next meeting will be December the 19th, right here. Same bat time, same bat channel. That's a reference to Batman for Mr. Barger's class back there. And I will end it with one trivia question. Who was that one student in 4 years who accepted the invitation to come up to the podium? One student in 4 years. There could be 2 after tonight. Yes, that's a very good question. I would say you might have been a freshman then. And she actually became one of our interns, City Madison interns, and is her.
Abby Hill.
And I will say it's a girl, so you're getting warmer. Brooklyn Cornelius.
Oh, I think
so one student in 4 years. She set a great example for everybody. Anyway, Chief, thank you so much for your service. You mean a lot to all of us, and particularly all the residents of the city of Madison and Jefferson County, because you served 2 terms as sheriff as well. Motion to adjourn.
I motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second the motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone. Hey, Andrew.